Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is a little bit of a different one than I'll typically do on my channel. It is actually going to be an eyeshadow palette collection video. I've been putting this one off for a very long time because I don't want to address my addiction, to be very, very frank. I have a lot. I started counting and then I lost track at like 50. So, no, today's not going to be a declutter because I'm not ready for that. That might be an upcoming video if you guys would really like me to do that, but please don't ask me to do that. Okay, yes. Anyways, the other thing is that this video is in collaboration with a friend of mine here on YouTube and just a friend of mine in life. Her name is Emma Fink here on YouTube. I just call her Emma, of course, because she's my friend. She's a really great person. She's super motivational. I really enjoy her channel. Her channel has actually helped me a lot in just becoming a better version of myself in terms of planning, taking care of myself. She's been really great, so I would really recommend checking out her videos. She also did an eyeshadow palette collection video, so you guys should definitely go check that out. I really enjoy her. She's just a really great person, so I really hope that you guys would support her. So my hair doesn't keep getting stuck in my lip gloss, I'm going to stop talking now. Let's go ahead and get into the video. So I'm going to start off with my larger palettes. So these are the ones that aren't typical, like small, easy to travel with palettes. And I think with me saying that, I think a lot of you will ultimately already think that I'm going to be talking about Morphe, which will be correct here. I have quite the collection of Morphe palettes. So let's go ahead and just get started. I'm going to start with the old packaging of their large palettes. So yes, I do have all of the palettes I currently own from Morphe in the old packaging, the old plastic packaging. I do think that they have, cardboard packaging, or at least a little bit sleeker of a design now. They used to be I believe it's called either white labeling or something like that, but they used to do that with their shadows, and I believe that's why their packaging has been so simple, but I do believe that now they've transitioned over to their own formula or own factory's own packaging and all that. So anyways, this is, if you guys are not familiar with it, this is the 350 palette. This is one of the main palettes that brought Morphe fame. So that's that. And because I got addicted, I went ahead and bought the 350 matte version and the 350 shimmer. This is not the 350 shimmer version. This is the 350 shimmer version, where it's all shimmers, just the 350 palette. And then the palette that I just showed that I didn't mean to show is the 35R palette. I really, really, really like this palette. It's just a lot of browns, honestly. It's really dark and kind of a good sultry brown palette if you don't have enough. These 4 columns are just mattes, and then these 3 columns are shimmers. I do have the Jaclyn Hill palette. I have a review of this palette, actually. That was one of my first eyeshadow palette reviews on my channel, so I will put that up in the cards if you guys are interested in watching that. I really do like this palette. I did have some problems with some inconsistencies in the formula. Like, I didn't feel like the blue was very pigmented, and I did kind of get tired of this palette quickly just because everyone was talking about it, and I'm kind of the type of person where I like to constantly be trying new things. So the last but not least Morphe palette that I'll be showing you guys is also old packaging, and this is the 25B palette. I believe it's like the mocha copper or something. I don't know, it's something like that, but it is the old packaging. They now, I believe, have it with circle pans. I'm not 100% positive, but I did buy it, of course, right when it came out. I didn't buy the 25A only because it was super warm toned, and by that release I was getting really tired of warm toned eyeshadows because I personally don't like them on my eyes or skin tone, so I went ahead with the cooler toned palette, and I don't regret that. Next are some of the hardest palettes for me to get, and the reason being is because they are the Lorac Mega palettes, and I do have all of them so far. They haven't released more than 4 yet. The reason that they were so hard for me to acquire is because by the time I started collecting the Lorac palettes, I believe 2 of the Lorac Megas had already come and gone. So they'd been limited edition like they are, and I wasn't able to get them. I started off buying the Lorac Mega palettes when the 3rd one came out, and actually the 3rd one so far is my favorite that they have. It's very, very beautiful, and I think it's very rosy toned. I believe that it's most on par with the new Lorac Pro 4 palette that I'll also be showing you guys. Really love this. Then also I went ahead and bought the Lorac Pro or Mega Pro 4. This one is actually their like least popular out of the 4 that they've come out with so far, from what I understand. I still really like it. I love their formula, and that's why I buy every single palette that they release. And then they did bring back the Mega Pro 2 on, I believe, HSN at some point, which is where I bought it. This is the most colorful, and I really love this. It kind of takes me out of my comfort zone, and it has a lot of interesting, diverse shades in here. And then just a few months ago, I believe, Lorac also brought back the Mega Pro 1 for a limited amount of time, and that's when I acquired this one. This one is the OG, and I really love it. And I do use a lot of these palettes pretty often because they are my favorite eyeshadow formula. Okay, and I figured, of course, from going from the Lorac Mega Pros, I'll go ahead and show you guys the regular Pros, and I do have all 4 of these as well. The Lorac Pro 4 just came out. I also had this weird thing where they've always come out with the first and then the Mega, and they just came out with the Lorac Mega Pro 4 for the holiday before they came out with the Mega, or the regular 4, which I felt was kind of weird, and I also feel like they rushed it for the holiday season, so I think that is why a lot of people don't like the Mega Pro 4 as much, but to each their own. Anyways, this is one of my most beloved palettes in my collection. There are shades that are like completely missing and hard panned at this point. Light bronze was my favorite lid shade when I got this palette, and I dug into it real hardcore. The mirror is even cracked a little bit. This was one of my first high-end palettes, I believe, and it is just falling apart. I should really actually be replacing it because I got it. Oh my god, I got it 5 years ago. I got this palette literally, what? Oh my god, I got this palette 5 years ago, guys. Okay, maybe closer to 4 years ago, but I should probably be replacing that. And next up, but also this is actually the 3rd palette from Lorac I bought. In the Pro formula, I went 1st, 3rd, 2nd, and 4th, which is interesting, but this is the 2nd palette. This is more cool toned, while their first one is definitely a little bit more warm toned. I don't necessarily think it's warm per se. They're definitely way different from each other, which I really like, because sometimes I feel like brands have a good palette come out and they come out with a sequel that's not even that much different. This is the Lorac Pro 3, and this is actually one of my favorites, but I did just get the Lorac Pro 4 today, which is, wow, it's beautiful. It's not very warm toned, which I feel like you could definitely get from picking up on this, but it is very just rosy, and I feel like the 3 and 4 complement each other very well. Again, Lorac has my favorite eyeshadow formula of all time, and I don't think that will ever change. They have also been the first high-end eyeshadow brand that I purchased from. I'm almost 100% positive that Lorac was my first high-end eyeshadow palette. I just love their formula. I really enjoy their brand, and I really love working with their stuff. It's good quality. So I have another collection of palettes here, which are the Too Faced palettes. I don't have a lot of them because I've realized that I don't think I like their formula as much as I thought I did, but anyways, let's just go ahead and get into this. I'll go ahead and show you guys the first palette that I got. This is the Chocolate Bar palette, the original OG Chocolate Bar, and everybody loved this at one point. Mine does still smell like chocolate, which is great. I do still love this palette. I think that if I just reminded myself, I would use it more, but as you guys can see, I have a ton of palettes, so I don't get around to using these very often. And then, of course, I do have the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette, or is it the Sweet Peach palette, and I actually didn't get this when it originally released. I got this back in holiday 2016 when they re-released it. That's when I was working at Sephora, and I was able to get my discount for it, and I really like this palette. It does Still smell like peaches. I still like it. I don't think that the shade ranges are exactly in my style as much anymore, but I do like this palette as well. And then these are kind of all of their newer palettes. They came out with these all really close to each other. You have the white chocolate bar palette, which I do have a review on. I got these, but I did never get to reviewing them, but these are the Clover and Gold chocolate bar palette, or chocolate bar gold. This one's hard to open. Okay, there we go. So these two are kind of, similar but different. They're both quite colorful in my opinion. Chocolate Bar Gold one is all shimmers except for 3 shades, which are like a cream, matte brown, and then a matte black. Oh, there's actually 4 colors. So they have a dark matte brown, a light matte brown, a black, and a cream that are matte, but the rest are shimmers. And then the Clover palette is one of the first ones where they don't have the larger shades throughout the palette. This one's quite colorful. I do enjoy it, but I just haven't gotten a lot of use out of it. If I don't review a palette, I don't really get to play with it often, and that kind of sucks. I try to keep up on everything that's new, as you guys can tell from my channel, so it's really hard for me to get back to things that I've bought, but hopefully I can get into playing with this more. I'm going to try to maybe start a series here where I play with makeup that I haven't used in a long time or used at all. Anyways, I'm talking too much, and this video is going to be like 40 hours long. And another collection, Anastasia palettes. These are popular. Here's the Modern Renaissance. If you don't know this, you're living under a rock. Sorry, not sorry. Subculture, if you haven't heard about this one, you're sleeping under a rock, because this one was dramatic. And then I did get the Holiday Prism palette, which I actually really like. This one's really pretty and very colorful. And of course, the most recent launch, Soft Glam. And yes, I will be getting the Norvina palette as soon as that launches. Actually, never mind, it did launch. I'm just broke, so as soon as I can afford it, I'll be buying. Okay, on to ColourPop palettes. Again, ColourPop has a really great formula, and I would say they are probably the second best formula that I really enjoy, hence also why I buy a lot of their palettes. I just hit myself in the face with them. Anyways, we have the Give It To Me Straight palette, and I do have a review on this one. We have the Dream Street palette. I'm not 100% sure if I have a review on this one, but I might. This is the Double Entendre palette, and this is the Double Entendre palette, and this is the first ColourPop palette that I reviewed and the first ColourPop palette that I ever bought. We have the You Had Me at Hello palette, and this one is actually controversial because if you peel back the sticker, because the You Had Me at Hello part on the packaging is actually sticker, it actually shows that this was supposed to be a Kathleen Lights collab. Anyways, I thought that was kind of interesting. We have the Element of Surprise palette, which has a few more pops of color, and it's very pretty. And then this is their Holiday All I See Is Magic palette, and this one's very pretty. However, it has a ton of shimmer in it and not a lot of diversity in the mattes, but I still really like it because their formula is very consistent within their palettes. There's more. I have the ColourPop X Makeup by Shayla Perception palette, and this one again is very colorful. Formula again remains consistent. And then I also bought the Fame and Fortune palettes when they just came out. I've been actually using these in my makeup kit as well recently. I'm getting makeup all over myself, but anyways, these are the Fame and Fortune palettes. This one's Fortune, this one's Fame, one's warm toned, one's cool toned. I did also buy the Soul and Mar palettes, or Sun and Ocean as they translate to. These are also really nice. The only thing I don't like about the Soul is like a lot of the shades are just all kind of mid-tone. There's not a lot of versatility in the depth of the shades, so I don't really know if I'll even be using this one, to be very honest. And it's very red. And the Mar palette is kind of what everyone's been hyped over. It has a lot of color in it. It's very pretty, and I look forward to diving into this one, and you'll probably be seeing a review very shortly. And then I also do have the Tarte palettes. I don't have all the Tartelette palettes because the Tartelette Toasted honestly didn't interest me. But I do have the Tartelette Original and the Tartelette in Bloom. This one is the In Bloom. This one's the original. Cool toned, warm toned. Brands tend to do that a lot. Then I also do have a few Kat Von D palettes. Although I don't really love her as a person, and that's part of the reason. I do enjoy her makeup, and this is the Shade and Light palette. This is the first palette that I bought from her. Her formula is really, really good. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to blind you with the ring light. It's really difficult. What I do like about this one is that she has like quadrants for warm, cool, and neutral tones, which is really nice, especially if you aren't very good at determining what is and isn't good for your skin tone. This is the Metal Matte Mini palette, and I do really enjoy it. The formula wasn't as consistent, I feel, with the mattes. I did feel like there was some trouble blending for me. There was some pigmentation problems, but I did like it nonetheless. I thought the packaging was kind of cool because one way it says metal and one way it says matte. I don't know. It's kind of neat. So this is the 10-year anniversary palette. Super colorful, super pretty, has a ton of shimmers in it. It does have a good even array of mattes as well. I haven't done a review on this one, and if you guys would like one, please let me know. I haven't been able to use it a ton, so again, if you need to see a review, please tell me, because I basically need to review a palette to use it, seems like. I quickly had to take the blood sugar out of its placing just to show you guys, because this is also one of my eyeshadow palettes, and I do have a few Jeffree Star palettes as well. This is blood sugar. It's very red, pink, very, very, very pretty, but you also can do a very neutral eye with it. I did a review on it where I did do a pretty neutral eye, and I will go ahead and also put that one up in the cards because I really did actually like that video. And I also do have the Thirsty palette, which I also did a review on. I always do reviews on all the Jeffree Star collections. I do a swatch of all the lipsticks in my videos, and I do swatch the shadows, so just check those out. They're pretty recent on my channel. This is the Thirsty palette, and I also do have the original Beauty Killer palette. I have not yet picked up Androgyny. There's really no reason why, except I'm trying to be a little bit more money conscious. I do think that palette's beautiful, and I would love to get it very soon. And I have a couple here that are sort of my randoms. They're not part of like a particular collection, or they're not really something that like I buy every single thing from that brand, which there's a little bit too many of those. Also, can you guys tell I'm getting out of breath from talking so much? Jeez. Anyways, this is the Dominique Cosmetics Latte palette. Is it? Yeah, Latte palette. And I did get this for my birthday actually from Emma Fink, so thank you. And I just wanted to mention that because, you know, we're collabing. I really love this palette. I also did a review on this. A lot of the palettes that I'm talking about you're going to be seeing reviews on my channel, because palettes are one of the things that I review most consistently. I also do have the KKW X Mario palette. Again, this one is reviewed and very great. I don't have time to do like mini reviews on every single palette, so I do apologize for that. I guess this does count. This does count as an eyeshadow palette to me, even though tiny. This is the Desi X Katie collaboration with Dose of Colors, and it's just 4 shades named after their dogs, but it's a really great formula. Kind of weird to work with, but it does translate really beautifully on the eyes. Desi and Katie are some of those influencers that have just never been really involved in drama, which I really like, and part of the reason why I did buy their whole collection, except the Meet in May highlight, which I do regret. So I do have 2 of the e.l.f. Mad for Matte palettes. I have the Mad for Matte 1 and the Mad for Matte 2. I'm not really sure if they're called anything specifically yet, but I do know that they have a couple more that have come out since then that are jewel toned and like smoky tones, so I might be picking those up as well. They're just weird because they're not the same size as most of my palettes, so they're kind of hard to, you know, store and all that, but I do really love e.l.f.'s matte formula. Oh, and this one is also super rando, but I got this in a BoxyCharm. This is the Pure X BoxyCharm palette. I don't even think I've used this, honestly. I am not really into the color selection. It's just kind of all over the place. But maybe someday I will dip into it. Then these are a few mini palettes I got from Smashbox as well, and I do believe this was released for last year's holiday. It comes with a mini of the Casey Holmes highlighting palette. I don't know if this one's technically in collab with her, but they're called the Spotlight palettes, and it comes with like 3 different highlights, and these are stunning highlights. And then it comes with 2 different eyeshadow palettes. The purple one is actually an exclusive to this collection that they released, and I really do like it because I don't have a lot of tones like those. And then this one is the, let's see, yeah, this one is the Ablaze palette, so it has a lot of more warm tones. I really do think that in this they came out with 2 of their most best-selling palettes that they have and added an additional one, so it's really hard not to buy, and I loved the packaging as well. And I do have a couple The Balm palettes, and I typically will only purchase from The Balm when they're 50% off, because they do a sale, I think twice or 3 times a year, where they're 50% off their entire website. So kind of keep an eye out for those, because it's really the best time to buy from them. I have the Nude palette. I also have In the Balm of Your Hand. I think this is volume, yeah, this is volume 2. And so it comes with kind of all of the Balm's best-selling shadows and products. Some of these shadows are ones that come out of other palettes that are just super popular. And then I also have the Balm Voyage, which comes with a bunch of powder products as well as 2 cream products that are kind of dying from the heat in California. I also have a ton of palettes from Bad Habit, which is sold at Hush. Hush actually has sent me all of these. I have not purchased any of them, but I figured I would show you these. I have the Inferno palette, which I kind of believe is supposed to be a Naked Heat dupe. I have their Arabesque palette, which in my opinion is probably a soft glam dupe. The Atlantis palette, and I think this is actually a dupe to the Kat Von D palette that came out recently. It's very blue, so it might not even be a dupe, but it's not something that's super wearable. I do have all of their After palettes. I literally just don't know where they are because I've traveled with them and I have no clue where they ended up. But the 2 that I do currently have with me are the After Shock and After Hours. So one's kind of more sultry and one's super colorful. And I've super been wanting to play with the After Shock because I want to get more into color. And the formula for these shadows are actually really nice. I also do have their Huda Beauty dupes, and these are the Aphrodite and Athena palettes. And these are supposed to be duping out the Huda Beauty palettes. To each your own on your opinion on duping. I think that it is very blatant, and they're really going after Huda with those Obsessions palettes as well with the small mini ones. I don't know how I really feel about it. I'm really appreciative that they sent me the palettes for free, but I think that at least try to switch it up a little, you know? And I'm actually surprised how fast this video was, but last but not least, I have my I do have my Urban Decay palettes, and I have 3 of them. I have given away my Naked One palette because I just never freaking used it, and I was wearing it for my Halloween costume last year, which was as a makeup artist, and so I had it in like my brush belt, and one of the girls at the Halloween party I went to was like, oh my god, I love that palette, and I literally was just like, here, take it, I don't use it. She was like, you know, so I was a nice person. But anyways, this is my current favorite palette from Urban Decay, and this is the Born to Run palette. I actually did just do a review on this one, so that one will also be up in the cards. This is one of my all-time favorite palettes of the year. I really recommend it. This is the Naked Heat palette. The interesting story about this one is that this was actually the palette that got me into reviewing products. I actually did a review on this one on my blog when it was a blog. It's now just my makeup artistry website, but I did do a review on it, and that's kind of what got me into reviewing products, and is why I now have a YouTube channel. And this is the Back Talk palette. This one honestly got a lot of controversy about not being very good, and I really did enjoy it. I did a review on it. The only thing is it's kind of pricey, and the packaging's kind of cool, but at the same time it's almost a little cheap. I don't know how I feel about it. The mirror actually comes out from the bottom, which is interesting. I don't know if I like that or not, and I've kind of said that in my video as well. It's a fine palette, and if you like the tones and you also like having blush and highlight to go, get it. Anyways. So like I said throughout the video, I don't have time to give you guys in-depth reviews on all these palettes, but I do have a ton of reviews on these palettes on my channel. A lot of the reason I have so many is because I review palettes so very often. I will admit that I do need to do a declutter and possibly do like a giveaway or something. But yeah, so anyways guys, that really does it for today's video. I really need to use the restroom. So anyways, if you like this video and you like me, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.